I usually don't ask this early, but if you could like the video and subscribe, it would mean a lot. We're so close to hitting 1,000 subscribers, and your support can really help get my content out there. Thanks, Henry. Harry. O'Malley was the kind of man who could quiet a rowdy pub just by walking through the doors. At 42, he was tall, broad-shouldered, and wore the marks of the Australian outback on his face, tanned and weathered from years spent under the unforgiving sun. His hands, calloused from working the land, were the hands of a man who knew hard labor and a quiet, simple life. Harry had lived in Barcaldine, a remote Queensland town, his whole life. It was a place of wide-open spaces, red earth, and cattle farms that stretched as far as the eye could see. His family's farm, which had been passed down for 3 generations, was both his livelihood and his legacy. On the other side of this equation was Mary Ellen "Molly" Wentworth, a vibrant, energetic 38-year-old woman who grew up in the fast-paced life of Sydney. She was a city girl through and through, accustomed to bustling streets, high-end cafes, and rooftop parties overlooking the glimmering Sydney skyline. Molly, with her dark auburn hair and striking green eyes, had the kind of beauty that made people turn heads wherever she went. She was a school teacher by trade, working with children and building her career before she met Harry. When their paths first crossed, it seemed like a romance from a storybook. They had met at a wedding of mutual friends, a stark contrast of personalities. Harry, the quiet country bloke who preferred a simple, honest life, and Molly, the social butterfly with a thirst for adventure. Somehow, against all odds, their differences attracted them to one another. After only a year of whirlwind romance, Molly left Sydney behind to start a new life with Harry on his family's farm. Their early years of marriage were blissful. Harry was proud of his role as the provider, working tirelessly on the farm, while Molly brought joy into their home. Their 2 children, Grace and Jack, filled their lives with laughter and purpose. Harry loved his family fiercely, and despite the difficulties of farm life, droughts, long hours, and financial struggles, he felt blessed to share this life with Molly. To him, the love and trust they had for each other was the foundation of everything. But for Molly, the honeymoon phase eventually faded. The sparkle of small-town life dimmed, and the isolation of the outback began to gnaw at her. The glamorous city life she had left behind started to feel like a distant dream, one she hadn't realized she would miss so dearly. At first, she kept these feelings to herself, pretending that everything was fine. After all, they had built a life together, hadn't they? 2 children, a home, and Harry's unwavering dedication to her and the farm. But deep inside, Molly began to resent her new life. Subtle cracks begin to show. It began with small complaints, gripes about the lack of excitement in Barcaldine, how there was nothing to do in the tiny town, how she missed the vibrancy of Sydney. Harry, being a man of few words, would just nod and say, "Aye, I know it's different out here, love, but we're making a good life." He was sincere. He believed in the life they were building, but Molly didn't feel the same. Soon after, Molly started visiting Sydney more frequently. At first, these trips were for family gatherings or school conferences. Harry, being the trusting soul he was, didn't think twice. He saw these trips as Molly reconnecting with her roots, and he trusted her to come back to him every time. But with each trip, Molly seemed to stay a little longer, her excuses becoming vaguer. She'd return home distracted, often irritable, and less present in their daily life. Harry began to notice subtle changes in her behavior. Molly would sit up late, texting on her phone, sometimes stepping outside for private phone calls. There were moments when she'd seem distant, her mind elsewhere, even when she was right in front of him. Harry dismissed it at first, chalking it up to her being tired or stressed from her trips. But the signs became harder to ignore. Her warmth toward him had turned cold, and the once passionate love they shared now felt like 2 people merely cohabitating. One night, while they sat at the dinner table, Molly's phone buzzed repeatedly. Harry, never the type to pry, couldn't help but notice how she quickly silenced it, her face flushed with unease. "Just a colleague," she muttered. But something in her tone was off. The woman who had once been an open book now seemed to carry secrets. Still, Harry pushed the thoughts away, too loyal and hopeful to believe the worst. The heartbreaking discovery. The breaking point came one chilly autumn evening when Harry overheard Molly whispering on the phone, her voice filled with a kind of affection he hadn't heard directed at him in a long time. She was in the kitchen, speaking softly, but Harry, standing just outside the door, could hear enough. "Charlie, I can't wait to see you again." "Yeah, I'll be in Sydney next week, same hotel. God, I miss you." Harry's heart dropped. His stomach twisted in knots as he leaned against the wall, struggling to breathe. Charlie Dawson. The name echoed in his mind. He knew Charlie. He was a 45-year-old real estate developer who owned several properties in Sydney. Harry had met him a few times at local events. He remembered shaking his hand, even sharing a drink or two at town functions. Never in his wildest dreams did he think this man would be involved in his marriage. But here it was, his wife's betrayal laid bare in a few whispered sentences. That night, Harry barely slept. His mind raced with thoughts of what to do next: confront her, scream, demand answers. The man inside him who had spent his whole life building a future for his family was broken. But there was another part of him, the stoic countryman, who believed in facing life's challenges head-on with calm and dignity. The next morning, Harry watched as Molly went about her routine, packing for yet another conference in Sydney. He said nothing. He kissed his kids goodbye as they headed off to school, kissed Molly on the cheek as she left for the airport. But inside, he was seething. The inner conflict. For the next few days, Harry wrestled with his emotions. The betrayal cut deeper than he could have imagined. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and couldn't focus on the farm. Every corner of the house reminded him of Molly, the woman he had loved so deeply, the woman who was now lying to his face. Harry replayed their life together in his mind, every sweet moment, every promise they had made. How could it have come to this? Harry's mind teetered between revenge and forgiveness. He imagined storming into Sydney, confronting Molly and Charlie in a rage, airing out his pain in front of the world. But what would that solve? Would it bring back the love they had lost? Would it heal the wounds? Revenge, he realized, would only serve to deepen his misery. It might feel satisfying in the moment, but it wouldn't change what had been done. Besides, what kind of example would he be setting for his children? He couldn't bear to have Grace and Jack see their father fall apart, not like this. Instead, Harry made a decision. He wouldn't go to Sydney, he wouldn't confront them, at least not yet. He wanted to gather his thoughts and face the situation with a clear head. The decision. Letting go versus revenge. The following week, Molly returned home, her usual post-trip routine in place. Empty pleasantries, unpacking, and a faint air of guilt she probably thought she hid well. Harry had made his decision by then. Instead of bursting with accusations, he simply handed her divorce papers one evening as she sat at the kitchen table scrolling through her phone. Molly looked up, confused at first, then horrified as she realized what was happening. "Harry, what is this?" "It's what you've been asking for, Molly. You've chosen him, haven't you?" His voice was steady, controlled, despite the rage bubbling beneath the surface. Tears welled up in Molly's eyes, but Harry wasn't swayed. "You can have him, Molly. I hope he was worth it." With that, he walked out, leaving her stunned at the kitchen table. He didn't need to yell or cause a scene. His silence, his calmness, spoke louder than any words of anger could. Molly's downfall, and Harry's rebirth. The divorce was bitter, with Molly and Harry fighting over custody of the children and their assets, but Harry remained composed throughout. He sold the farm and moved closer to the city to be near his children, determined to rebuild his life. He focused on his kids, who were heartbroken over the split, but found comfort in Harry's steady presence. Molly, on the other hand, found her new life with Charlie wasn't as glamorous as she had envisioned. Their affair, built on secrecy and lies, began to crumble under the weight of reality. Charlie wasn't interested in long-term commitment, and soon Molly found herself alone. She tried reaching out to Harry, pleading for forgiveness, but it was too late. Harry had moved on. 7th, the message of closure and strength. Harry's life, though different, became better in ways he hadn't imagined. He found peace in letting go of the past, realizing that sometimes the best revenge is simply moving forward and living a good life. Molly, for all her beauty and charm, became a memory, one that faded with time as Harry embraced his new life. Sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away, Harry would tell himself, and he lived by those words every day. Thanks for watching. What would you do in Harry's situation? Do you think he made the right decision? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for Emiaus for more. Harry's life wasn't easy after the divorce, but it was honest and his own. He threw himself into his work, focused on his children, and built a new life without the bitterness that could have consumed him. Molly's betrayal didn't define him. Instead, it became the catalyst for his transformation, teaching him that the best revenge wasn't retaliation, but moving forward with dignity. As for Molly, she had made her choices, and now she had to live with them. The life she thought she wanted turned out to be hollow. Harry's calm, steady resolve became her greatest lesson. Sometimes losing something good is the most painful punishment of all. Sometimes the best revenge is not revenge at all. It's walking away and letting time reveal what truly mattered. Thanks for watching. What would you do if you were in Harry's shoes? Do you think he made the right decision by walking away, or should he have sought revenge? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this.